My name is Carol Craig, and I'm a teacher who's an expatriate living in Trinidad and Tobago, and I had a very horrible experience at our United States Embassy there, and I just wanted to let people know about it. Okay, I want to make it really clear that I am not writing this out of spite or because I'm upset about the fact that my particular individual, my boyfriend actually, did not get his visa. Honestly, I wasn't sure how strong his letters were, and I wasn't thinking that he might actually get his. But when I witnessed that over 200 people were not even given the opportunity to present their paperwork and were all being charged this exorbitant fee of $131 US, and that only 3 people were even being considered, this put me into an outrage because I think it's the policy that's dishonest. I don't think that they're giving people an opportunity, and I really got angry about that. I'm not doing it out of spite. So I went online, and everything has to be done online, which in itself is a little bit restrictive because most of the population in Trinidad do not have access to the internet. And so I was the one who filled out my boyfriend's application. And we went in on the 24th of November to do our interview, and I actually went in ahead of him. I'm a United States citizen. I went in ahead of him under the guise of getting extra pages into my passport, and I sat down on the side where the local people would be. I sat and observed for approximately 3 hours a situation that I found to be an embarrassment as a United States citizen. Good afternoon, Vice Consul. I spent 3 hours today in the U.S. Embassy in Port of Spain in Trinidad. I was shocked and appalled at how things were handled during the time I was there. I only saw 3 people go to the TST post to pay their $23 for their passport to be sent back to them. Every other applicant was turned down, given a form letter, which I have a copy of here, that said that they needed to reapply and bring evidence of their ties to Trinidad and Tobago. Now, the reason I'm writing today is that no one was asked to produce these items during their interview. We all knew what constituted evidence of strong ties, and every person I spoke with that was there that was denied told me that their evidence they had with them, but they were not able to show to the interview during their supposed interview. I feel I witnessed a travesty of justice at the embassy today. When each applicant is paying $131 US, which is the standard price at all embassies throughout the world, that equates to 825 Trinidad and Tobago dollars. They are not even afforded the opportunity to show the required documents which they had in their possession. I really take issue with this. I am outraged and ashamed of what I witnessed as a U.S. citizen. This seems to be very unfair. In fact, it's a dishonest practice to charge someone for a service and not give them a chance to legally and honestly share their information. We spent a lot of time online reading the requirements and gathering all kinds of documentation only to be shut down as if we were nothing. This was a very humiliating and degrading experience for all involved. When the government of the United States tell people who have lived in their nation for 40 and 50 years that they have no ties, that's very disrespectful. The amount of money we are talking about here is no small quantity either. In fact, if my math is at all close to being correct, I believe that the embassy had 200 or so people pass through at $131 US, which adds up to $26,200 in just 3 hours' time. What is that? This practice needs to be addressed, which is why I am also CCing this to my congressman and sending a copy to President-elect Obama. I am a very proud constituent of my country, and I refuse to witness this type of abuse without at least speaking out loudly. I came with a gentleman today who I wanted to have come home to meet my family, who are gathering from all over the United States to be together for the holidays. I'm 48, never married, and I thought it would be a perfect opportunity for them to meet my sweetheart. We only wanted to go for 2 weeks, and now that hope is dashed. We had all the necessary paperwork, the bank statement, the work letter, proof of the fact that he has a home, he has 4 children, and he has many family members that reside in Trinidad. I have no intentions of keeping him in the United States. I don't even live there at present myself, as I'm an expatriate working in Trinidad and have to be back to work on January 5th of 2009. It is so sad that we weren't given the courtesy of explaining our situation. I especially dislike the paragraph in the form letter telling us if this was our first refusal that we are welcome to reapply for an additional $131 US and try again. For what? We aren't even able to show our ties of documentation next time, are we? Or wait a minute, maybe if we check that we are applying for a second time, they'll actually look at them. So they responded to me very early in the morning the following day. Dear Sir or Madam, thank you for your inquiry. Under Section 222 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, visa records are confidential. Questions as to whether a visa application was made or a visa was issued or denied should be addressed to the applicant. If the interest in confidentiality and privacy, of confidentiality and privacy, we do not comment on individual applications. Please note that we no longer review refused visa cases. Previously refused applicants are welcome to reapply, however, they should only do so if there's been a significant change in their situation that may warrant visa issuance. We hope this information is helpful. Sincerely, the NIB unit from the consular section at the U.S. Embassy in Port of Spain. Well, please reread my letter. I did not request a review, nor was I asking for a reconsideration. I was making a broad statement of overall policy of the embassy. I find your response typical in that you did not even take the time to read what the letter was saying, but assumed I was asking for special consideration. It is a matter of poor dishonest practice that concerns me. I did not ask for the numbers of visas that were issued. I already knew. I know that they don't issue same-day visas. I knew that everyone who was being considered had to leave their passport overnight, and in order to do so, you had to leave 23 Trinidadian dollars in order to have it mailed back to you. I observed all of 3 people doing so during the duration of my stay, which was approximately 3 hours. The office is unbelievable, and I will forward your reply to my congressman for their interpretation. Rapidly, by 3 o'clock that afternoon, I had another reply saying, Dear Sir or Madam, thank you for your inquiry. We're sorry you're disappointed. All applicants are treated fairly and in accordance with U.S. law. If your applicant requires further information on his case, he can contact directly. So, again, my response. You are still not addressing the fact that applicants, many of them, are not being allowed to show the documents proving their ties on their first visit. Would you kindly address the grievance? I would argue that not all applicants are being treated fairly. How is it fair to require a return visit when there has been no effort on the embassy's part to even look at the documents that are in the possession of the interviewee? Please make sure you investigate this matter before you respond, as this is a serious problem that you may not be aware of. Maybe an inquiry is in order from your office. I can only say what I observed. This is a matter of principle. I'm not interested in having my friend reapply, as I've previously noticed. I am interested in a change of policy for future applicants who do not have the skills or the knowledge as to how to even go about addressing their frustrations in these matters. And I'm telling you, there isn't a single local Trinidadian person that I spoke to that hasn't been touched by this exact scenario. The only people that are coming here to the United States right now are people who purchased or received their visas prior to 9/11. I'm not saying that we don't need to be screening people coming into our country. But what I am saying is that we need to do it in a way that is just. We need to allow people, if we're telling them to show up on a first interview with paperwork that shows their ties, let's give them a chance to show what they've got. I find that if we were to address just this one little problem, we might go a really long way for making our relations with our global neighbors a little bit more solvent. We might come off as looking like we have a little compassion, and people might stop hating the United States like they do everywhere that I've traveled, and I do a lot of international travel. And it just has me really angry. I'm standing here by myself on my vacation right now, and my guy didn't get to come, and that's okay, because, you know, maybe they might not have approved his paperwork, but it sure would have been nice if he had at least been given the opportunity to show it to the interviewer, and if the interviewer would have been a little bit nicer and really tried to find out who we were as people, and, you know, done her job better. But this is not an acceptable way for us to be operating. And if it's not going to be okay for people to come to the United States, don't toy with them, get their hopes up, have them spend a ludicrous amount of money. $131 is a lot for any kind of an application process. This policy has absolutely got to be looked at, and I'm outraged, and I think we need to do something about it.